Good afternoon. How are you? How are you feeling this lovely afternoon? We are going to be talking about the latest immigration news. As a matter of fact, I'm going to focus only on one news because this is huge. And after that, I'm going to make comment on two different topics. By the way, please go ahead and share and like. Don't forget to comment below. And meanwhile, if you need a consultation, you can schedule it. Don't be calling, just schedule it. The consultation link is in the bio, okay? Let's get right into it. Khalid has been arrested. Khalid Mahmoud has been arrested and detained. As of now, he hasn't been charged yet, and his arrest is pretty much a nationwide news. Why? Because of two things. First of all, he's a green card holder, okay? And second of all, he is a Palestinian activist. Remember Trump, when he came to power, even when he was campaigning, he talked about terrorists. He talked about people who has different ideologies than American. And as a matter of fact, if you go back to the latest immigration news, I talked about the fact that they came up with the policy where they will basically take away visa, revoke visa for students who are considered terrorists or have the appearance to be terrorists, appear to support terrorists, okay? So this guy, he's an activist, not a terrorist, but an activist. But the simple fact that he's supporting Israel, because he's Palestinian, I believe, he's basically supporting Palestine, with the war going on between Israel and Palestine. He's supporting Palestine. I don't know if he's from there, but he's supporting Palestine. And he's basically a strong supporter and a loud activist. And he's been arrested because what they're saying is that his protests equal anti-Semitism and support for terrorists. Remember that Trump said that if you appear to be supporting terrorists, such as Hamas, then your visa will be revoked. But this one has a green card, not a visa, but he happened to be a student. He just graduated. I don't know if he's still continuing with his studies, but he has a green card. So now he's being detained, currently in detention center. So the judge held his basically deportation is on pause because he's still in detention center. And the lawyers argue that basically they file what we call here habeas corpus. It simply means that you have the body, bring the body. Simply means that you have the person in detention center. We don't know why you're detaining this person. You have to bring this person to court or charge this person accordingly, bring them to court so that the person can defend themselves. So that's what his lawyers filed with the federal court, and now the judge put a pause on that deportation proceedings, okay? So the arguments are still continuing. We don't know, as of now, I don't know the outcome of the case, but this is major. It is major because we want to talk about green card holders in this particular case. Green card holders and their rights. We have the First Amendment here in America where people have freedom of speech. When it comes to freedom of speech, it doesn't say that you have to be American in order to exercise the freedom of speech. It's pretty much broadly defined. And when it comes to terrorism group or support for terrorism group, it's broadly defined as well. So if the government is hostile to those type of individuals, then they can interpret your activism as a support to terrorist group. Now you're gonna find yourself in removal proceedings fighting for your green card. So people have to be really careful when it comes to being a green card holder and being involved in certain type of activities, okay? Of course, you're gonna come and say, well, I have the right to do this, I have the right to do that. You do have your right But if you're being detained under those circumstances, then you're fighting for your right. Now it's about spending money. It's about finding. Eventually, you might win if the if you have good cause, or they can't really say what is, if it's really not defined correctly, what they mean by support of terrorists. You might win, right? But if you don't win, what's going to happen? You're going to be detained, stay in detention until removal proceedings is over, until you're going to get deported. And remember, nowadays, they're sending people to not Guatemala, but someplace where sometimes it's not even your country of origin. So by the time you're there and the time you have to fight back to go back to your country, this is just a lot. So bottom line is just that, you know what, if you don't have your US citizenship yet and you're working towards it, just be mindful as far as what type of activities you find yourself involved in. And as a matter of fact, even what you post on social media. Remember, USCIS now, they are going to be asking for social media handlers, so they can, for the purpose of vetting and for the purpose of really assessing the case properly. So those are the things that you really have to be careful. This is a breaking news. It's all over the news. I just wanted to explain a few things here. I guess I get my point about it, okay? So now I want to talk about those two things that I said in the beginning of the video, that I was going to comment or, you know, provide practical tips on that. Volunteer departure versus removal. If you know, I'm just going to keep this one really short, okay? If you know that you are supposed, let me rephrase it again. If you know that you're not going to go home, don't take volunteer departure. Because volunteer departure is offered if a person feel like, you know what, let me just depart instead of getting a removal order, okay? Not self-deportation. This is volunteer departure, departing after the judge grants you volunteer departure, different from self-deportation, okay? So if you know that you are not going to do that, you're not going to be able to return home if the judge grants you volunteer departure, just don't take that offer. Don't take it. Fight for your case. Even if it means being ordered removed, fight for the case. The reason you want to do that is because if you take volunteer departure and fail to depart within the time allocated by the judge, what's going to happen is the volunteer departure becomes a removal, final order of removal. That's not even the problem. The problem becomes when you have a new type of relief and you want to go back to reopen your case and terminate removal proceedings. Those cases are hard to reopen because of volunteer departure. In my experience of practicing this immigration law, when it comes to a person who has volunteer departure, out of 10 individuals, only one person gets their case reopened. They just deny that because of volunteer departure, because you failed to depart after asking for it. You know what I mean? In comparison to someone who just was ordered removed. As a matter of fact, we had a person who failed to appear in court versus a person who took volunteer departure but failed to depart. The person who failed to appear in court and was ordered removed in absentia got their case reopened. But the person who took volunteer departure and failed to depart, the case was denied. ICE refused to join the motion here in Baltimore, right? ICE refused, even outside of Baltimore, like Boston, they refuse. Even those blue states, they refuse when it comes to volunteer departure. We really have a hard time with that. So that's why it's really important to know, if you know you're not gonna leave, don't take it just for the sake of taking it, okay? That's my practical tip, number one. Number two, we have a person who was detained, but this is really bad. The reason the person, it's bad in terms of must be a mistake in terms of ICE with detaining everybody, right? This person's case is administratively closed. Work permit has expired, but the work permit is pending. Renewal of work permit is pending, but the person who was going, remember when you apply, they'll give you a receipt, right? With the 540 days extension, I believe. I don't know if it went back to 180, but anyway, you have the extension letter. In addition to it, you have your expired work permit. So that's the thing that you show to the employer, and you keep working. But this person got arrested just when they're trying to enter their job. So detained now in Baltimore. We're trying to release them because this is really bad. But remember, it's going to take a couple of days to get them released, probably by the end of the week. But meanwhile, they're in detention center. So if you have doubt on how to behave in terms of this current climate, this administration, you want practical tips, follow us. But if you need a consultation, you should schedule it, okay? That's just that. You schedule it. Consultation link is in the description box below. What else we have as a great news? I'm going to make a different video for the great news. Until next time, bye-bye.